Now, Korea's economic policymakers have been tasked with boosting domestic demand after the recent Sewol-ho ferry disaster. But a visiting professor from Harvard University says there is no real need for the government to intervene. Now, Hwang Ji-hye reports.
Exports have been Korea's traditional growth engine, but balancing it with domestic demand rose as one of the key agendas for the Park Geun-hye administration to boost growth. The Korea Development Institute has even pointed out that the sluggish domestic demand is largely the reason behind the nation's strong current account surplus. One renowned economist, Barro, however, stands against the argument, saying it's not that big of a concern.
With Korea having become so rich now, I would expect imports to be catching up with exports and imports to grow fairly much together.
He added that the deadly ferry disaster in April will have a temporary impact on the domestic economy and that the nation's pace of economic growth is strong enough. Those, Professor Barro said, all take away reasons for the government to intervene.
But still, the recent growth, around 3–4%, is pretty good in a world perspective. So again, I don't see this as a rationale for government intervention further into the macroeconomy, for example, in the form of further monetary stimulus or fiscal stimulus.
Over on the recent strong Korean won trend, Barro said the government allowing further appreciation of the exchange rate is reasonable.
And I would allow further appreciation of the exchange rate, which I think has appreciated to some extent over the last few years.
But he went on to say that the current level of the won against the US dollar hovering around the 1,020 level could be the point where the local currency stops strengthening. Hwang Ji-hye, Arirang News.